diluting Wala Wal Bara. That's how it looks. So turn to page 336 and take a screenshot with your cell phone or iPad of this PowerPoint, because this will be page 1. And then you can print them out at the end of the lecture, staple them together, and then use a clip them to page 336 of your book. So that way you will have my notes, you know, as so when you review these again with your families or yourselves. All right. So we're going to speak about how, unfortunately, guys, a lot of Muslims, a lot of you have been telling me, Sister Layla, why come no one's ever taught this? I've never heard anybody, any brothers in our communities speak about this. Well, a lot of Muslims don't like talking about allegiance. They don't like discussing Al Wala Wal Bara. They want to try to abolish it, because they don't understand the concept of allegiance and disassociation. They believe that teaching allegiance and disassociation is teaching hatred, which is not. That's another reason why a lot of people that used to speak on my website, I used to allow a lot of those famous speakers here, but they all got removed one by one. And as you can see, I'm never bringing them back. And one of the complaints that they had about me was they said I was teaching hatred, because I've been teaching Wala Wal Bara since 1990. We've always taught this. Okay. I've always taught about the allies of Allah. Y'all remember that? But my classes were called the Awliya of Allah and the Awliya of Shaitan. That's the heading I used to use. And the brothers hated me teaching that, because they said I was teaching hate. That's not correct. To think that teaching Wala Wal Bara is teaching hate, you know, this is what the extremists believe. Okay? To think that there's a such thing as La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah minus Wala Wal Bara, this is not Islam. Because allegiance and disassociation are fundamental components of our belief system, guys. But you'll be surprised how many of the Mu'tazilite, it's the Mu'tazilite that want to abolish it. The Kharijites, they go to the extreme with it, using it to call everybody kafir, like we talked about last week. Everybody's a kafir with the Kharijites. Well, the Mu'tazilite, and there's a lot of Mu'tazilite here in America, a lot of these famous American speakers who y'all follow and listen to on YouTube, who have millions of followers, they belong to the Mu'tazilite. They're not Kharijite. They're Mu'tazilite. And that's why you don't hear those brothers and sisters talking about this, because their aim is to abolish it. But we need to let it be known, any attempts to abolish the Wala Wal Bara, you know, we have to look at it with caution. You have to look at it and realize what it is that you are attempting to abolish. Because these two terms, Al Bara and Al Wala, reflect two actions of the heart that cannot be removed. We cannot remove these two actions of the heart. And those two actions are the strongest emotions man has, and that is love and hate. Love and hate. Al Wala being love, Al Bara being hate. And both of those actions of the heart are connected to our relationship with Allah and our relationship with each other. And the one that many Muslims struggle with is Al Bara, because Al Bara is the action that refers to hating for the sake of Allah. And I remember when I taught this class in the 2000s, I had a lot of women here from MySpace. A lot of women here from MySpace who were new converts. They could not understand when I would talk about Al Bara. They would say, you're saying God is hate. No, he isn't. I said, I didn't say that. I said, Allah hates everything. that he made haram. And the Prophet Muhammad said that hate is a component of faith. Those women belong to the Mu'tazili communities. And their imams told them that I was a hate teacher, a hate speaker. And they left after slandering the heck out of me, okay? But this is what broke them. They could not accept that hating is a component of faith. To reject it means your understanding of the deen is not correct. As Muslims, we are commanded to hate everything that Allah hates. We're commanded to hate anything that goes against our belief system. We're commanded to hate anything that goes against our Islamic morality. Allah tells us in the Quran, the things he hates are the things he made haram. We're supposed to hate adultery. We're supposed to hate alcohol. We're supposed to hate lying, hate cheating, hate everything that Allah hates. We're supposed to reject false gods, reject idols. We reject anything that is contrary to our Islamic teachings. We reject fornication. We reject adultery. We reject sodomy. We reject polyandry. Polyandry is when a woman has more than one husband. A big innovation going on now. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of so-called Muslim women taking on two husbands now. We reject all of that. This is why we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. We reject a boyfriend, girlfriend. This is why we don't celebrate the 4th of July. We reject Zionism. That's what it is. This is why we don't celebrate any of these non-Muslim holidays. It's also why we don't celebrate birthdays, because we reject false gods. So Bara is the first principle of the declaration of faith, guys. It deals with negation or rejection of anything that contradicts our Islamic belief system. And then the second pillar of our faith is Al Wala. This is affirmation. That means we affirm everything that Allah affirms. We love everything that Allah loves. We love him. We love his prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we love all the believers who share the same faith as us. That's what I was talking about yesterday with that brother. You know, you want to defend your Christian kafir wife. If it came down to it, your wife got to go. If that war were to break out today, Aki, your wife ain't on the side with us. Your allegiance is supposed to be to the Muslim women, not to no kafir woman, even if it's your wife, even if it's your mother, even if it's your sister, Aki. Like I told him, you're lost. You're not going to be no good. You're not going to be good for anyone, no Muslim, if anything were to break out now. Because you're confused. You're lost. Your allegiance is misplaced. We have to also understand that Al Wala, which is allegiance, is not just limited to individuals, but to groups and communities, where loyalty and support are given to them because they follow our same belief system, our same values. We don't choose a Christian organization over a Muslim organization, just like we don't choose protecting a Christian over a Muslim. What unites us is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That statement, that testimony of faith is what brings us together and unites us. So both Al Bara and Al Wala are fundamental parts of our belief system. And I've been teaching this stuff since 1986. And finally, I got a person that can stand up and say, Layla's not teaching hate. That's why I'm using this book of Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd's. Finally, in English, a book that has everything that I've been teaching in my whole dawah career. Where the other brothers accused me of teaching hate. That's why they're not here anymore. Okay? So, allegiance and disassociation are fundamental parts of our belief system and practice, and we have to implement them in our personal lives because doing so promotes brotherhood and sisterhood. That's why we don't have it here. It also promotes harmony and social justice within the Muslim communities. And this is why so many Muslim communities here in America don't have that brotherhood and that sisterhood, because they want to abolish this. They want to remove Al Wala, Wal Bara, to neglect these principles or to misapply them. The Mu'tazili reject them. The Kharijites misapply them. When this happens, this leads to disunity. It leads to sectarianism, which is what we have, and even extremism, which we can see in America all across the country. Look at Texas. Texas. That's where you see all that Islamic sectarianism. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. That's where you find that sectarianism in Texas with the Muslims. Then you got extremism. You find a lot of extremism, where else, Geechee? In New York. The East Coast of New York, Philly, Philadelphia. You know, New Jersey. This is America, it's the truth. And then you find a lot of disunity, like you see in the West Coast, California, Fresno, all that disunity in California. Because as Muslims, we fail to implement the principles of Wal Bara and Al Wala. Okay? When we neglect to interpretate and apply the principles of allegiance and disassociation, you know, it results in what we see all across America: extremism in certain parts like the East Coast, disunity in certain parts of America like the West Coast. Okay, sectarianism like we see in the South, you know, all of that. Let's take a look at this. As a result of all of that misinterpretation, a lot of Muslims live in fear of it. They listen to a person like me. How is it? Let's have been told, oh, I don't want to talk to sister. That sister Layla, I don't want to listen to her. She scares me. How many of you have been told by other Muslims, oh, I don't like her. She scares me. Then you find some people, that's the Mu'tazili, who are suspicious of me. Okay? So this is why we're divided. You know, when you got people teaching Al Wala Wal Bara, people don't know how to take it. Either you're going to be fearful, thinking that we're teaching hate, or you're going to be suspicious. So this divides the community. And that's why it's crucial for us to get back to the basics of Islam. This is something that I tell the Daya all the time. Leave that political junk alone. Get back to the basics. Teach the people what La ilaha illallah truly means, so they can understand the importance of balance. Because Wala Wal Bara promotes balance within our communities. Learn how to love for the sake of Allah and hate for the sake of Allah. If we did everything, those two emotions, for the sake of Allah, it brings about balance. We wouldn't be loving our husbands more than ourselves. We wouldn't be loving our sheikhs more than the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is what we see. So just because a Muslim is teaching love and hate for the sake of Allah, this is not equated with extremism or terrorism. And you shouldn't be afraid, to use the word hate as a Muslim. I remember I had one of those imams that I used to allow to come here to teach. And I remember those sisters in Texas complained about me. This brother called me on the phone and told me, Sister Layla, don't ever use the word kafir and don't ever use the word hate because you're giving a bad impression of Islam. I told him, you got to get up out of my website. I said, number one, you don't tell me what to teach because you don't run this. This is El Quran wa Sunnah. I'm the director of this baby here. I said, number two, you don't even know that the prayer Isha does not end at 12. So, brother, you ain't qualified to tell me nothing. I don't care about your so-called PhD from some online school in Islam. And I hung up on him. I'll never forget that. Sheikh Morsi told me to kick him out the website. I'll never forget that. Here's a brother that's going around telling people in his khutbahs that you got to pray Isha before 12, otherwise you missed the prayer. This idiot telling me because I'm teaching Wal Bara and because I use the word kafir, I'm giving Islam a bad look. But he ain't giving Islam a bad look, and to this day he's telling people that they can't. Isha ends at 12. What an idiot. Oh, God, I can think about some of the stuff I went through on this website. It's just ridiculous. That's why I ain't got nobody here but who I got, Dr. Dramali, and that's it. SubhanAllah. All right? So, there's no such thing as Islam without love and hate for the sake of Allah, and accusing those who practice the moderate application of Al Bara's principles of promoting hate, accusing us of promoting hateful and violent ideologies. This is wrong, guys. Like I used to tell my students, hate for the sake of Allah is good. It's not a bad thing. It's part of faith. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it's against yourself, your parents, your kith and kin, whether it's against the rich or the poor. This is Al Bara, guys. If you hate for the sake of Allah, I'm going to hate everything that Allah hates. Allah hates stinginess, so I hate it too. Allah hates oppression, so I hate it too. I'm not going to allow you to oppress another person, whether that person's a Muslim or not. Just because you're my mother, just because you're my father, that doesn't give you the authority to oppress somebody else, to lie to somebody else, to cheat somebody. So that's Al Bara. And Islam holds justice as one of its most fundamental objectives. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, whoever amongst you sees an evil, let him change it with his hand. And if he's unable to do that, then change it with his tongue. And if he can't do that, then at least hate it in his heart. And when we hate it in our heart, we make dua against it. So how can you call yourself a scholar of Islam, but say that you're against teaching Wal Bara? This is the problem that I had with the brothers that used to be on my website. Okay? That's why I'm not bringing nobody back. So this hadith highlights the responsibility of Muslims to act against oppression, to act against injustice. And the only way we can act correctly is by loving what Allah loves and hating only what he hates. Again, Allah says, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it's against yourself, your parents, the rich, or the poor. So even if it goes against our interests, we stand up for what's right, neglecting to defend the rights of others. This means you got a problem with your aqidah. You got a problem with your belief system. And that's what happens. A lot of these brothers who are into this, get rid of Wal Bara, don't teach that. Don't teach that on your website. That's what they used to say. This leads to turning a blind eye to human rights. Now do y'all see why in certain parts of America we have problems? A lot of the sisters say, Sister Layla, how can this brother be found guilty of raping a girl in his community and he's still an imam? Because they turned the blind eye to the rights of others. Y'all see what happens when we don't uphold allegiance and disassociation? We let people transgress Allah's limits. How is it that you got a brother, still a famous celebrity here in America, who's been proven and caught on camera to mix with innovators, homosexuals? He's been caught numerous times making statements of Aqidah that are not correct. But he's still a famous speaker, still calling him a scholar, still people worship this dude, basically. It's because this is what happens when we try to abolish Wal Bara. We turn a blind eye to human rights violations. We turn a blind eye to the rights of Allah being transgressed. The companions weren't like this. The companions wouldn't allow anyone to hold a position of authority if that person was proven to be a person with belief, Aqidah issues. Okay? So whenever we fail to defend the rights of others, that shows that these are people who are negligent in Wal Bara. This is a component of faith. So now I'm going to give you guys a quiz, couple of questions. Question number 1. Why is it that many Muslims refuse to teach or speak about Wal Bara? Why is it that a lot of Muslims don't want to talk about allegiance and disassociation? Come on, guys, we got another class. We got Brother Mukhtar at 7 o'clock. Y'all know it takes me 15 minutes to get set up. Why is it that many Muslims refuse to teach or speak about allegiance and disassociation? Nobody's going to answer?
Because they think.
What? Go ahead.
Because they think it's hating.
Okay, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, they think you're teaching hate. They think you're teaching hatred. Good job. Any other answers? Okay, we'll accept that one because I got another class. What about this? Al Bara.
Also because they do.
Go ahead.
All right.
Also because what?
I was just going to say they don't understand the allegiance.
Exactly.
So they can't teach something that they don't.
Exactly. That's the number one thing. But they don't understand what Wal Bara is about. That's the part of the Shahada that people don't understand. So since they don't understand it, it's anything that we don't understand, we want to make it bad. We want to make it dirty. We want to make it haram. So when we talk about Al Bara, which is disassociation, it refers to rejecting which of the following: rejecting false deities, rejecting verses or things said about Islam that are not from Allah or the Prophet. Or does it refer to rejecting anything that contradicts our identity? Or is it all of the above or none of the above? Which one y'all think there?
All of the above.
You guys agree? All of the above?
Yes.
Good job. That's all it is. El Bara, like I had to tell this imam, you know, all I'm teaching is El Bara. You know, disassociation from anything that comes between us and Allah, anything that contradicts our identity. You know, the brother told me, Sister Layla, you're too harsh, too mean. You know, you need to change your dawah methods. Y'all know who he was. Last question. Neglecting to teach Wal Bara leads to which of the following? Fear of it, incorporation of good Muslim identity, imbalance, all of the above, or the first and last? Which answer is correct? Neglecting or not teaching it leads to which of those?
I would say the first and the last.
You guys agree? She said neglecting to teach Wal Bara leads to fear of it and imbalance. Y'all agree?
I say all of the above.
I say all of the above.
All the above.
Okay, if y'all said all of the above, what's the second one? The second one is incorporation of good Muslim identity. So if I neglect to teach Wal Bara, will you have a good Muslim identity?
No, ma'am.
No, you will not.
The reason why I said the first one and the third one is because if you're gonna fear it because you don't know anything about it, and because it's imbalanced because you're not balancing your love and hate the way Allah has taught you to.
Okay, she's right. That's what I've been teaching you guys. That's the reason why you look at different parts of America. Seriously, let me put my screen back up. Mukhtar just took the pressure off me. He's going to be a little late. Good job. Mukhtar is going to be 15 minutes late so I can slow down. Why is it that if you look at the East Coast of America, that's where most of your extremism in Islam is? You look at the West Coast of America, that's where a lot of your disunity is. You look at the southern parts of America, you see a lot of sectarianism. It's all because they're not teaching Wal Bara. They're not balanced. How can you balance your love for Allah and his prophet and the people without hate? You need hate to balance out love. And how can you hate without hating on a personal level, without love? Those two emotions that Allah created work hand in hand. You go to the East Coast, they hate you because you don't follow their sheikh, because oh, you got on makeup. Oh, she wearing colors. I think she's a sinner. I think he's a sinner. So I hate him. They a kafir. That's extremism. No balance. West Coast, it's all mixed up. Gay rights in there too. Okay? The South, sister, it's all about interfaith. Sister, we all got to can't we all just get along? Can't we all just be half Muslim and half Kafir? Can't we all just be accepted by the Lord of all mankind? And we all three, what they say, we all the Abrahamic faiths. That's where all that Abrahamic crap comes from, the South. So this is messed up. Your Muslim identity is destroyed. You don't have a Muslim identity. Either you're an extremist, a sectarianist, or you just mixed up, confused. You don't know your head from your toes. You're walking around, don't even know the Shahada. Don't even know the Tashahud. Y'all see that? So, fear. The answer was fear and imbalance. Without Wal Bara, you live in fear and you are imbalanced. Your love and hate has to work together hand in hand to balance you out. You got to hate what Allah hates. Why is it that people still getting high, smoking weed, having sex out of wedlock? Because their love and hate is not balanced out. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Any questions or comments?